Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Positivity. Today, I want to talk about anxiety because I've talked about it a few times, and although I see it's still something that people don't want to talk about, they don't want to admit about it, they're probably even afraid to get help for it, but it does seem to be that people are struggling with it. And I can say that I myself have struggled with it. And I've learned how to deal with it and how to kind of live with it and how to not allow it to take over my life. So I do have a couple of things that I would love to share with all of you. First, to talk a little bit about how anxiety gets created and what it is and why it gets built up in our life. And after that, we'll try to see a little bit how we can actually prevent it, in the moment, and how we can prevent it as in a lifestyle. What things can we do to prevent it? So first of all, I recently had somebody read to me a shidduch. A shadchan called me and said that she tried reading me a shidduch, but the mother of the girl said that he's not sure this Weber is struggling with anxiety. Or he has anxiety. I'm not exactly sure what she said. And to which I told the shadchan, yes, respectfully, I do have anxiety, just like everybody has anxiety, and just like everybody has, a heart and lungs and a head, 2 feet, 2 toes, hands, legs, whatever. Anxiety is a regular part of life, in my opinion. It's just another feeling that's out there, just like we have excitement and anger and fear. There is something called anxiety, and anxiety is a gift that we all have, which is to worry about what can happen or what might happen, or worry about our work or about our marriage, about life, where we're headed. The goals that we have, and through this worry that we have, through this anxiety, we know what to do, what the right thing is to do. And we see this concept in of course, in Svurim, about anxiety, how to get over it. I recently heard a very nice word that, it says that by Kriyas Yamsov, it says that we know that the Mitzrayim died in the water, in the Yam. But then Hashem made a nes that they were spit out from the sea, so that the Eden can see that the Mitzrayim are dead. The question is why? The Eden already knew that they were dead in the water. Why did they have to get spit out? And the answer is that if Klal Yisrael would have not have seen them dead, they would have worried. I don't know. Maybe they went back. Maybe some of them survived. Maybe they will come and hunt us in the future. So Hashem made a nes just to calm this anxiety. He made a nes that he showed them, look, Klal Yisrael, the Mitzrayim are dead. So we see this concept of anxiety, and we know this concept. Obviously, the strongest thing for a Yid is to have a minna, which usually faith and belief is on the opposite side of fear and anxiety. So first of all, for people that are curious, how did anxiety get into their lives? Now that we know a little bit what anxiety is, how did anxiety get into their lives? The answer is pretty simple. We grow up in an environment where we have our parents, teachers, sometimes even friends growing up, and many times the way they feel is best to protect us is through scaring us. If you don't do this, this might happen. If you don't learn, you might go. Or we have this concept of Gehenna or dying or afterlife that is just tremendous amounts of fear, especially for somebody that's young, a young kid or a young child, a teenager growing up, and they're being told about what they're doing right or what they're doing wrong. There is tremendous buildup of anxiety if it's not done correctly. Of course, we are allowed to be taught certain things. Yes, we have to be taught that running into the street as a little kid can have consequences, so it can be a little bit scary. But there is a proper way to do it, not just to to yell at a child every time they took a step into the gutter and make them feel tremendous shame around what they just did. This is a conversation for itself, but anxiety gets built up through the years, mainly through our environment. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm just trying to explain to you how it gets built up, mainly through teachers and our parents that are, of course, wanting to protect us, or they have their own little things that are bothering them and they project it on us. And of course there are other factors as well that we know can sometimes be generational. This can be a conversation for itself, if it is generational, if it is genetic at all. To some measures it is, but then we all have the ability to change and to work on it. This is a conversation back and forth, and there's many studies in it, and I'm sure that there's Svurim on it, and I'm sure that there are Lahavdil Goyish books on it, but it's fair to say that to some measure it is, and in some measure it also carries over, not just genetically, but also on a physical level, right? So that if my grandparent, just in a common sense way, right? So if my grandparents were people that were in the Holocaust, which is for most of us, and then they had kids and some kind of fear went over, whether they were the happiest people or the most miserable people after the war, a certain level of fear went over, and a certain level of fear is what we carry around now, that maybe something bad can happen again, or why did it happen, a little bit of anger and resentment around it. But it's fair to say that there is fear that we carry around with us, whether you want to believe that it's genetic or not. But on a physical level, you can see that there is patterns of fear. There is many years of fear, even growing up as a kid, and we were told all these stories that especially that what Jews experienced through the ages could give us a little bit of anxiety, that we are more prone to have risk in our life, and so we need to live with a certain amount of fear and anxiety. And now a lot of people, of course, or you might ask about yourself, or you might ask about others, where has this anxiety been all the years? Like, why is it only coming out now, or why am I having it only sometimes, or how come my life was good till now, or how come my life was good for so many years, or I know this other guy and his life is so beautiful and he never has anxiety, like what's happening? But many people ask themselves for themselves. I know for me, I asked this question, like, I had such a beautiful life, why did it just come out? And the answer is because we do have the capability of what's called suppressing anxiety. We do have the ability to take fear and anger and all these things and hide it away within us, in our hearts, in our bodies. Our body stores all this pain and fear, and we do have the ability to store it. There just comes a day where this anxiety can start overpouring, and that's what happens to a lot of people. There's only a certain amount. To give you, this is a concept that many people will understand, but many people will be asking, what is he talking about right now? And I'll explain it to you. So let's say that you are able to handle fear and anxiety in your life, and you were able to have a very beautiful life. But then when it comes, let's say, for you to open a business, or to go into a new job, or to start a relationship, or to get married, you're noticing a tremendous amount of blockages. You're noticing that it's impossible for you to do this. Or maybe you do have a successful business and a successful marriage, but you find yourself impossible to go into buying a new house. And this is where the anxiety comes up. This is where that fear that was stored in there, and you believe that everything is fine, but here you're noticing, wow, why do I have a blockage over here? Why am I not able to do this? And this is what's called old and stored and suppressed anxiety within you, that is now coming out and now being expressed. And also because specific anxieties can be around specific things, and for everybody that's different. We all had different parents, and we all had different friends or teachers. So some people have areas in their life specifically that they feel limited, while in other areas they might be more open to it. So and of course we do all have different natures, that also will dictate how much you feel this kind of anxiety or not. So all these things are things to keep in mind. But what you should understand is that usually it comes a day where you just start noticing the anxiety, or you start noticing, wow, it's been so many years that I've been working in a job only because I had a fear that I didn't even notice it's there, but I had a fear of opening a business because maybe it's going to fail. And of course, there are many different fears: fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough. These are some of the major common fears that are, again, deeply installed with us. It's not, you can't really put it into words because they are really feelings that dictate our lives and the decisions that we make on a daily basis. So this is the answer when and how these things come, the fear and anxiety comes up. Generally speaking, actually, fear and anxiety usually comes from ignorance. It usually comes from not knowing. And the issue with that is that these feelings get suppressed, and then what happens is, after you suppress, you get depressed, and then depression just leads can lead to a lot of pain and feeling stuck in your life and not knowing. So on the other hand, on the other side is of fear and anxiety is faith, is yes knowing, is having belief, seeing direction, seeing opportunity, feeling the opportunity. That's on the other side of anxiety. And to get there is quite easy, because both anxiety, both fear and faith, both require us to believe in something that we can't see. So not only that, but anxiety actually is the same exact feeling as excitement. You have two people going on a roller coaster. One of them is sweating and jumping and just breathing heavy because they are so afraid. The other one is sitting right next to them and has the same reaction. They're breathing heavy, they're sweating, they're jumping because they are so excited about the opportunity. So many times in our life we have anxiety, but really it's excitement. Or vice versa. We have excitement and it could really be anxiety, which is that we don't really belong in that place. And to what I said in the beginning, that anxiety does have benefits to it. Many times we're thinking about going somewhere or doing something, talking to someone, and it is wrong. And that's why our body gives us this reaction of feeling scared, because it's not the right thing to do. So never ignore your body, never ignore your senses, always listen. Your body is the one that will always tell you what's right or what's wrong. And this is very important for us to get in touch with our bodies, because many people have lost touch with their bodies. So that's another beautiful thing to keep in mind. Now, a couple of common things if you are struggling with anxiety, which is, I would say, number one, you should always know that there are professionals out there. If you're having severe anxiety and you feel like you don't want to go out of the house, or it's really, chronic anxiety, severe anxiety means that you're not doing certain specific things that you should be doing, but there is something holding you back. That's real anxiety. When these blockages keep on coming up, sometimes we have little anxiety, or we're afraid, and we get over it, we change our mindset, we change our physical state, our being, we call a friend. Okay, that's regular anxiety that everybody has, whether they admit to it or not, whether they're conscious of it or not. But if you're having anxiety where it's just stopping you in many ways of your life, and you feel like you can't go on, you feel like you don't want to get married because of it, you don't want to open a business, or you're afraid to do so many different things in your life, then it's time to perhaps reach out to a professional or call a friend about it and see what you can do to get rid of this, and get the proper help. Anxiety, like most people believe, is not really a disorder, and I don't want to get into this too deep as well. Yes, there are some people that maybe have a chemical imbalance and they might need medication. This is something that comes up, but for most people, it's usually anxieties, just stored emotions and feelings that they have not dealt in the past with, and all they have to do is take a little bit of a look and do a little bit of work on themselves, or a lot of work on themselves, to get out of this zone, to become a better and healthier person. So a couple of things that you can do in the moment when you feel anxious, which is number one, breathing, which is what I personally do whenever I'm driving and I feel maybe anxious, or before I go into a show, or before I have a meeting. And I do this every morning, usually every morning, sometimes also before I go to sleep. I do a little bit of breathing exercise. It can be as little as 3 deep breaths in, deep breaths out, deep breaths out. Usually the breathing out should be longer than the breathing in. When we do that, it lowers the heart rate, which makes us feel better, changes our body chemistry. Another few ideas is exercising. Releases specific endorphins, gets our body healthy and in shape, so that we feel better when these things come up. Healthy eating is tremendous, because when you eat healthy fruits and vegetables and not too much sugar and not too much coffee, what happens is the body is just feeling a lot better, and it has the natural healthy nutrients that it needs in order to go on and have a good and happy life. So for me, also in the past year, I've tremendously changed my diet to eating healthy. I also drink mostly water. I don't even drink that much coffee anymore. I drink coffee now almost like only once a week or once a month. I mean, I barely drink coffee. Usually I drink tea, green tea, which is very healthy, with honey usually. So changing your diet is tremendous. And of course also changing your mindset, because sometimes we find ourselves being so stuck in certain situations and scenarios that it does make us feel anxious. If we keep on thinking about what will go wrong, then yes, there is a bigger chance that we'll feel anxious and stuck and just worry. So you have to ask yourself, well, what are you thinking about? What are you putting into your head? Another tremendous one, and this is really, really big, because I know that for myself, this is already something that's going on for many years in my life. I've completely tuned out of the news and everything that's going on. Politics, I am completely out of it. I'm completely out of all the news. Again, I'm grateful for the news that there is out there, and I have great friends that do all this, not to mention names, the statuses and stuff like that. But for me, I muted these statuses many years ago, because I just noticed that it doesn't do anything for my life. There's no point for me knowing that there was a gas leak in China, or a shooting in Texas, or a bombing in Russia. There is zero benefit besides the fact that it's just giving me, and it could give you, more anxiety. And even if you don't notice in the moment, but then when you're having a rough day and your mind remembers all these little incidents that can happen in the world and how things went wrong, it's just a pileup of making you feel bad, and not feeling faithful and happy and excited about life, but feeling fearful. So this was another big one for me, tuning out of the news. Of course, having a healthy schedule, a healthy morning routine where I usually meditate and I daven and I eat a healthy breakfast. Like I mentioned, breath work, just visualization, just visualizing how I want my day to go, prioritizing my tasks, not getting too overwhelmed with my work, having a regular schedule, a proper team to do the work so it doesn't get overwhelming, and all of these things. And same as at the schedule at night, whether it's you reading a book at night, or taking time to relax, talking to a friend, to a spouse, to children, whatever it is. All these things will help you feel more calm throughout the entire day. And of course, as we said, walking, running, or exercising are also tremendous help to calm down anxiety. There is many topics around this, and for me, sometimes I've experienced even panic attacks, which again I noticed that came from a buildup of anxiety, from a buildup of not listening to my body, from a buildup of not taking care of myself, or not prioritizing my goals or my vision and my future and stuff like that. So the more organized we can get as human beings and get clear on what we want, also having a social circle, Many people tell me, Ellie, you're famous. You must have thousands of friends. That's not always the case. I also need my close few friends, and I do try to keep relationships with specific people, so that I have my friends that I know that if I have something on my chest, if I have something that I'm feeling overwhelmed or alone or scared, I can call them and tell them this and this is what I'm feeling. So I would recommend, anytime you're feeling a little bit fear or overwhelm or worry or anxiety, a great way to deal with it is through calling a friend and just asking them. Of course, they have to be an open-minded friend and not somebody that is going to give you false information or false hope and tell you like, yeah, just ignore it, it's nothing. You don't want a friend like that. You want somebody that will listen and understand, and hold the space and give you the love that you need in that moment when you talk to them. So I hope this was helpful. You feel free to let me know in the comments or suggestions, or get back to me personally and let me know how you felt about this episode. It really means a lot if you can like, share, and comment. I would really appreciate it. And I hope that if you are somebody that's struggling with anxiety, I just want to tell you that you're not alone. It's something that I've experienced. It's something that I'm still working on to be calm at all times and know how to deal with it. I don't believe in getting rid of it completely. I think anxiety is something that's there to protect us, but I am working on learning how to deal with it and how to navigate the world with the anxieties, and remembering to listen to my body. So if you are struggling with it and it's overwhelming for you, I'm just here for you and holding space and sending you love. And if you're not, then just try to put in some positive routines in your schedule that will keep you feeling happy and calm and positive at all times. Good luck. Thank you for listening.